I'm going to start trying to do these videos more regularly again. I've always tried to do more substantive issues in the videos, and I hope that they're useful somewhere down the road. The video that I'm doing here should accompany the post that relates to independent test requests and whether or not an officer has made adequate efforts to accommodate a defendant's request for an independent test. I love these issues, and I find that a lot of times if you just talk with your client, speak with them about what the conversations with the officer were following their arrest, generally after implied consent, sometimes after the administration of the state-administered chemical test, you'll find that there are some great issues here. One of the main issues that you need to look for that officers really try to talk defendants out of the test by referencing the money that they have available. Look at the Howard case. The Howard case is actually discussed in this post, and it addresses whether or not an officer made adequate efforts to allow a defendant to seek the funds to obtain an independent test. The other issue that you need to look for is whether or not an officer imposes any sort of artificial bright line limitations upon a defendant's actual facility at which they can obtain an independent test. A lot of times officers will say, look, I'm just not going outside the county. There's no reason whatsoever that an officer should be able to impose an artificial rule that a defendant cannot obtain an independent test simply because the facility that he indicates was outside of the jurisdiction that he works within. I dealt with a case recently in which an officer said, look, we're not going outside of Gwinnett County. As it turned out, on his route to a facility within Gwinnett County, he went outside of the county, and he went closer to the facility that the defendant had actually requested. That is, the facility that the defendant had requested was outside the county. The officer actually was closer to that facility than he was the facility at which the test was ultimately administered, the independent test, whenever he got back into the county. That is not going to work well for an officer. Look for these issues, and I think that it will help you a lot in your DUI practice.